Hello there folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel, a place where I discuss different topics like interpretation of dreams, spirituality, interpretation of, other topics like, spirit possession, thought forms. Usually these are one of my favorites. Um, Understanding different ideas from a more introspective viewpoint, and I may go even into psychology, a bit into psychiatry, like narcissism, sociopathy. But the point about this is that I'm gonna share as much wisdom as I have acquired through this channel, as well as from time to time discuss on my video game and different topics and guides that I may provide as well, or simply how I tackled different challenges, or I might find someone on the internet who needs help with something, so I just come up with an idea and I may post that as well. Now in this video I made a previous video, but I didn't put it on YouTube because it ended up as being like 50 minutes almost, and I didn't want to spend so much of people's time. I was interested in trying something for my game in which I have a list of suspects, let's say for a detective game, and what this will work as, you have to look for a suspect's photo, okay, and you look for it in a let's say in a database, okay, and you want to make a profile picture match, okay. You want to see who is the respective suspect. Now I only made the stem of it, I only made the the core of the of the events. So what I did was I created two common events, okay. This event, we have here a variable 4999, which we decide at random from 1 to 6. Now this variable is technically your suspect, okay. You don't necessarily need this part here, this first script, because let's say you have a certain number of suspects, and when your events start, let's say you have 10 events and only one can go, it's chosen at random and only one of the actions can go, so therefore you have one suspect this way. Or you go through different actions, okay, probably the same actions, but you have a random suspect each and every time the player runs your game. So you'll probably have this part in another place, but you'll want at the end, depending on which suspect you have, you want them to be given a certain variable to that variable, right? So if you have that variable, will technically say which suspect you have, and according to this you have the conditionals, okay. If your value is 1, then show this picture, show this picture, show this picture, okay. So technically this, these are pictures of the same character in my case, but this is because I didn't want to load different pictures and create them the necessary parameters so that they're all shown in the right same correct location. So you'll have different characters in here, okay, one single picture of different characters, okay. So this one is an event that will trigger only once, okay, because it's not parallel, right, not auto run. It's gonna trigger once based on which subject you have, okay. So let's say your detective has gotten a picture and they need to find out who the suspect is, okay. Now in the other part in here, so we also have these numbers, right, the picture IDs from 1 to 6. Now in the event itself, I want to make sure that I have this one set to 0, okay. So this database indexer, okay, if you're gonna run this again and again and again, you'd preferably want this to be set to 0 before entering this loop and doing all the things in here. So what this thing does is that, first of all, you're gonna start with your database indexer as 0, okay. You're gonna now switch through the files that you have, let's say the pictures of your characters, right, your let's say your potential suspects, right, and you're gonna increment through them, like you're gonna go +1 +1 +1, right. So first of all it's gonna be +1, 0 + 1 will equal 1, so it will show this picture, okay. It's the same exact picture as in that case, because here you will have the same pictures and here as in here, because these are the same pictures of the of your suspects. Okay, it's just the indexer will have them, let's say, on the right. Okay, you have 600 for the right, and here you have 250 because the picture will be shown on the left, right? And once it goes to 1, it shows this picture, and then it's gonna say, is this indexer's value equal to this value here? So this value is from 1 to 6 because I have 6 potential suspects. Okay, now this will be each a picture of your different suspects. So if you have 10 suspects, it will be times 10 plus 1. Okay, and in here you will go from 1 to 10. Okay, you will have several other conditionals. Okay, and you have to most likely and preferably display them all in the same order, right? And you also want the pictures in here to have a completely different ID than in here, because you can only have one picture of the same ID at a certain time. If you put two pictures with the same ID, they're gonna, the last one is gonna override the first one. So if here this value in here, so technically your first picture equals your suspect in here that you found, okay, is a suspect's picture, then you have a gab text from Yanfly's Gab Windows plugin. Okay, it's gonna say, hey, we have a match, and then we're gonna delete all pictures, and we're gonna end this event. Okay, once you end this event, the next time you start it, or when you end the event itself, you can actually put this variable to 0 in here and in here, right? Or you can actually delete it, and next time you start your event, you could actually put the value in there, but let's actually put it in here. Okay, so now let's see, in case your value isn't equal. Okay, so I said the value of this one is not equal. Okay, it's different than your suspects, while also your as you're gonna go +1 +1 +1 +1, this number in here, as you go +1 +1, it has to be smaller or equal to your maximum number of suspects. Okay, and we say no match found because we didn't have a match, right? Why I said clear gap after each one of these is because I want this gap to be able to be shown again. Now, in case these two values are different, and for whatever reason my incrementation didn't work, okay, and the match still wasn't found, but this is just to make sure the event ends. Okay, I also added this part in which if the value is equal to or greater than your maximum number of suspects +1, right, it's gonna still show no match found, and it's gonna act the same way as in here. It's gonna delete all the pictures, it's gonna make database indexer 0, and it's gonna have randomizer event off, which is this one. So if we actually run a test, wait, because it's gonna take a while. The video was 14 minutes because I initially wanted to do this in MZ because I don't have any project in there, and in MZ it loads instantly. My project is very big, so it's gonna take a while to load, and I didn't want to take the extra time. So any moment now it's gonna like fully load. Any moment now. Still loading. Okay, any moment now. Cool. So now that we have this aspect, oh yes, and I also have the event in here that will trigger this common event. Okay, will trigger the common event that, well, in this situation chooses our target, right, our suspect. It's gonna wait 10 frames so that I'm sure this one runs without any problems before entering this one, which is the switch for the parallel event. Okay, so we have the suspect and we have the database going on. So we have picture 2, we have picture 3, it's not a match, this is picture 6 actually, picture 4, we have picture 6, and we have a match. Okay, and for some reason it didn't actually you know, delete whatever picture is this. Wait, we actually have 6 and actually have 12, so okay. Now I don't know exactly why I didn't delete that picture, but alright, so let's see if it is greater or equal to 7. Oh wait, that's why it is greater than. Here you need to say greater than specifically greater or equal. Let's see, greater than 7, yes, because this one is gonna go to greater or equal, smaller or equal to 6, and when it is 6 it's gonna finish. Okay, so now okay, well actually this one doesn't need the else branch. Okay, you don't need this else branch. It cannot simply go beyond this. Okay, sooner or later the two values are gonna be equal. Okay, so that one is definitely not needed, and you also avoid the appearance of this picture. Okay, so now if you hit apply, everything should be okay. Hopefully you liked this idea. This is just a core aspect. This can actually be extended as much as possible. Well, if you're ever gonna use it, I'm curious as to what you'll end up with. This is just an idea that came to my mind. I'm always looking for more challenges, what more I can actually introduce in RPG Maker through different ideas, you know, like different randomizers, different, I don't know, AI aspects. I've been actually tinkering in my 17 months of RPG Maker usage with a lot of ideas, since my games will always be something like, let's see what new I can actually add. Okay, hopefully you like the type of guide that I created. Now I'm gonna end this video because I want this to be really short. You are loved and appreciated. Keep doing what you're doing. Whatever you're doing is the best you can at the right pace for you. Feel free to view my other videos on different topics that I have. You can also see some videos about my games, although those are still sparse because I don't want to spoil too much of the game that I'm almost completed with. And well, these being considered, feel free to like and subscribe. Feel free to leave your comments. You are loved and appreciated. Take care of yourself and your others. Remember that life is just a game, so live the game, right, instead of letting it live you instead. So all this being considered, take care. You are loved and appreciated. Ferenc Board signing out.